Hello and welcome back to another episode of Handy Dandy Repairs. Today we are looking at the motherboard of a Xbox One S, I think it is. Customer tried to repair his own HDMI port. I think he slipped up with the soldering iron in a couple of places. So let's go straight under the scope and have a look, and we'll see if we can fix it. So here is the back of the CPU or APU. And you can see there's a few caps that have been bridged or missing or whatever. So we'll clean that area up, we'll figure out what's going on, and we'll replace those. And also we've got the HDMI area here. So he's tried to replace this port. It doesn't quite look like it's lined up. Maybe a bridge there by the look of that. Just grab some tweezers. Definitely looks like there's a bridge there. Possibly, maybe not. Hard to say, and obviously there's solder everywhere for the ground legs. So we'll clean that up. We'll get a new port on just to make sure. But also he's taken this port from here, and that's all bridged and messy. So we'll have to clean that up. There's a few damaged traces here. This is only an input port, so these damaged traces aren't going to be an issue as long as nothing's bridged or shorted to ground. So we'll have to check all that, but we'll get it all cleaned up and see how we go. First things first, let's sort out this side. So we'll come in with a little bit of flux, maybe just the soldering iron and a bit of wick, and just sort of wick up what we can there. Might even start with just the iron and see if we can just pick up any blobs, figure out exactly what's going on. That's definitely just a blob of solder there. As is that, there's no capacitor under there. And this one here looks okay, which is fine. So it's just these two big ones here by the look of it. That's good. Alright, I'll grab some wick and we'll wick that up. Still got a little bit more wick up on this one. Might need to come in with the smaller iron for that one. It's in a bit of an awkward position. Looks like the old leg with the capacitor is still on there. There we go. Give that a quick clean up. Alright, put some fresh flux down here. And re-tin these ones on the left. Nope. Got to clean the iron tip. I think I still have the capacitor bottom on the iron tip. This iron's just not getting enough heat. Move to our bigger iron. Get them tinned up nicely. Alright. Now I know that both of them are 10 microfarad capacitors. So we'll grab our book here. I believe it's 603 sizes. Should be this one here. Yep, that looks like the right size. So we'll grab 2 of these out. We'll sit one to the side so we don't blow it away. And we will attach this one here. A little bit of hot air. And grab the other one. Add just a touch more flux and reflow them into place. Just like so. And of course give that another clean up. Okay, so that's that bit done. Now let's have a look at the back of these HDMI ports. Oh, okay. Now where are we? Over this side. A few scratches there. Just going to have to test to make sure that he hasn't damaged these traces here. So we should have continuity between this pad here, this trace, and here. And we don't. So we're going to have to restore that trace. That's all ground, don't have to worry about any of that. That's fine. Let's quickly check this again. Nothing. Okay, so we're going to have to restore that trace. And get another scratch out this way. That's fine. That doesn't look like it's done any damage. We can quickly measure that as well. It goes down to here. That one's fine. So we're going to have to restore that trace there. That's not a problem. I mean, it's a problem, but it's easy enough to fix. Give it a quick clean up. And there it is right there. Just focus more on that. Just sort of see the break in that trace. That's fine. Not a problem. Could even quickly sort that out first. Might just quickly sort that out first. And then we'll move on to the HDMI port. So we'll just grind this trace back on either side. Add a touch of flux. Tin those. Like so. Grab a little bit of wire. I should have some on my bench here somewhere, but I guess not. No, grab some off the roll. This wire here. In that. Cut off the excess here. Just double check to make sure that's restored the trace. No, it obviously hasn't because we're not connected. Where are my tweezers? We're going to need tweezers. Here they are. That's better. I'll give that a clean up. We want to be fairly aggressive with this because we want to make sure it's not going anywhere. Which it's not. Wonderful. Alright, now we'll double check that again. Hopefully you can hear that. Not sure if you can hear that, but that's all sorted. We'll chuck some UV mask on that later on. But now let's get these ports off and clean everything up. Alright, so here's our 2 ports. Now, I'm just going to use some hot air underneath the port to remove this one. And then we'll give the whole area a clean up. Okay. Let's move this back somewhere a bit more comfortable to work. We'll focus on one at a time here. So we'll get some flux down. First things first is we'll come through and we'll tin it all with some leaded solder. It's just going to help everything flow a bit easier. Gonna lower the melting temp and make it all a bit easier to manipulate. Ground holes are pretty badly damaged. That's okay. We'll grab our solder wick. Okay, that area should be okay. We'll do the same thing here. We'll just tin it all with some leaded solder. And come through and wick it all up. I'm going to re-tin all this now, just in case we do decide we want to. I mean, we're probably not going to put another port on here because this is only the inlet port. Most people wouldn't use, and it serves no real purpose to the working of the console. And if we did want to use it, we'd have to go ahead and restore some of these traces, and we don't really want to do that. It's just not worth it. Alright, let's clean off all this old flux so we can have a good look at what we're doing. A lot of damaged traces there, so we're probably not going to bother with this port. Obviously, it's just not worth the hassle. We'd have to restore what, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, maybe probably just that 1, 3, 4 traces, 5 traces. I mean, it's not the end of the world. We could if we needed to, but again, it's just an input port. It's not important. This is our HDMI output. Now, this is pretty badly damaged. Let's get our tweezers and see if we can clean up some of these ground holes here. We'll try wicking that up from this side of the board. Okay. Not ideal, but I think we can work with that. So we go back to the front of the board. And we'll retin all this. We'll add some solder to these ground legs if we can. So severely damaged, this might be a bit of a challenge, but see how we go. Alright, so for now, we can always add some more later. I'll just grab a new port just to help with our chances of success. I'll bring this over here. I'm going to quickly tin the port. I find it really does just make the whole thing a lot easier. Just like that. Alright. Now we're just going to heat up from underneath and drop the new port in. Okay, should be good to go. Just check those pins one by one. They're all solid. So we'll give the area a quick clean up. And get inside the port. And just like that, we're all done here. Alright. So the only thing left to do is chuck some solder mask on the back here. I'm not even going to bother trying to clean up those ground holes. There's just so much damage there, it's just not going to be worth it. Might maybe just clean up this big one. Give this whole area a clean up now. double check that continuity again. Still good. And we'll chuck some solder mask down. Now I'm not overly worried about this being perfect. Mainly just want to cover that trace. The ground, we can cover some of the deep scratches in the ground, but they're on the ground, so it's not going to matter. They're not going to short to anything. The only thing they could possibly touch is the case, but that's grounded anyway. It's not a big deal. The main thing is just this trace wire here. So that's easy. Just come in with a UV light and a little bit of hot air. And lovely, that's all cured. Just to be absolutely sure, one last time. Check between there and there. Probably check that we aren't shorted to ground either, which we're not. Perfect. Lovely. All right. I think she's ready to test. Okay, well, the power's on. Seems to work. We've got an image on the screen. I'll give it back to the customer, get him to reassemble it, and let me know if there's any updates. If there is, I'll put a pinned comment down below. But I'm going to call that a fix, and we'll call it there.